So I made a schoolboy error when using font files. Watch this video so you don't waste 2 days. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but yes, 2 days. Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me again, and many thanks to my recent new subscribers. I've actually got a bit of a landmark. I'm actually over 300 subscribers now, and it does make me extremely happy to get notifications of that. And I do check when people subscribe to see whether they're YouTubers themselves, and I do look at their profiles to see what they're interested in. And I've actually subscribed to some other channels subject to what my subscribers are looking at, because they found some interesting channels that I haven't. So thank you very much for that. Anyway, this is a very, well, hopefully a quickish video. It's a stripped down code of one of my previous videos, and it's to tell you not to make a stupid error that I made, and it's all to do with font files. So yeah, we've got a font file up here, so let's have a look in that, and it gives us some fonts, and I've called these F3x5 standard, and you can see it gives you all these characters. It gives you numbers, and it gives you the alphabet going down. Okay, so that's all well and good. Then there's another file down here which is a thinner font but taller. Gives you the numbers. Now this only at the moment gives you A, B, C, D, E, F, and this is a very important point, so pin back your lug holes and listen to this, because this caught me out and I wasted 2 days. Yeah, I'm afraid to admit it, but I wasted 2 days. So it doesn't give you all the other letters of the alphabet. Now we can change this later, but just to highlight the problem, and it gives you the small characters. And I did this for a reason, because I was just playing with fonts. I was new at font building, and I only wanted a few characters of that thinner font. Anyway, further down we've now got, there's a new font down here somewhere, 4x7 straight, so that's now 4 wide but taller. You can see you've got all those characters, and you've got all of them. Okay, you've even got the small alphabet as well, and then as you see on the screen, there's a compute file, 7x6 compute, and you've got 0 to 9, the capitals and the little letters. And now I can't keep, but when I'm making the fonts, the end bit here, it doesn't justify, and it takes me ages to go in here and justify all these up. So I apologise if they're not justified, but once they're working, you don't need to reference that much, so I'm not really too bothered. So what did I do? When I was playing with some of this code, I mistakenly activated the code that only had some of the numbers, some of the letters in, and that caught me out, because yeah, so this one, so I mistakenly said to the matrix, please print using this font file. And when, like today, Saturday is scrolling across the screen, it wasn't showing Saturday, it was showing part of the word Saturday, and for the life of me I couldn't understand why I was not getting the information off the NTP server and why it wasn't scrolling on the screen. I was looking at my char arrays, etc, etc, and I literally wasted 2 days, and it was because I asked it to use the wrong font file. And you can see it's only got some capitals. It hasn't even got a capital S in this one, so it wouldn't say Saturday. It would just say down here, it would say A, it would have the D and the E in Saturday, and that was it. Anyway, I wasted days. So when you're playing with font files in the code, let's just scroll down to highlight this problem, then we can move on. When you're asking it to do something in, where are we, down here. When you're doing your testing, always use the standard font file. Have I got a standard reference here? Yeah, see, if you set your font file to 0 none PTR, it will use the built-in font in Parola, and whatever you ask it to print on the screen, it should print. Then, once you get your code working, then play with your pretty font files, and then if it doesn't work, you know there's something wrong with your font file. Anyway, 2 days. Yes, I've got less hair on my head than I had 2 days ago, and yeah, it was frustrating, but I was so pleased when I got it working. Anyway, let's get on with the code. So we've got a font file. We've got a font file now with this funky like 1999, or if you remember the old Tomorrow's World program when it first came out, when computers were very new, they used to have text like that. Anyway, so we do exactly the same. We're turning on the Wi-Fi here. We're loaded in Parola, except from the libraries. Now in your configuration.h file, you will have to put in your SSID and your password as normal here. And this is some timings. I've been playing with timings. Not all these timings are used, but I've been playing with the scrolling of the compute file, which is the one you're looking at the moment. It had to scroll slightly faster than I've said here. The bigger the number, the slower the scroll. So obviously this number's lower, so it scrolls quicker. This is setting up the DHT11. There's a note there about the DHT11 is not particularly good. I would never recommend buying one. If you buy one, get the DH22, the white one. They are better sensors, but if you're wanting to send a rocket to the moon, don't use either. I've got a buzzer in mind, so this just makes the buzzer go off now. That's further down the buzzer. So this is setting up the char arrays. Some of these are now not used. I don't think this one's used anymore, but I've left them in. Setting up the Insta-store, the values of hours, minutes and seconds. This is setting up Parola. This is the degree signs for centigrade and Fahrenheit, because they're not in our font file. This is an easy way to do it. This is getting the display in 24-hour clock rather than 12. So if you change that to an I, you'll get the 12-hour clock. This is setting up my hardware type. If you're not knowing what I'm talking about there, see my first video about getting the matrix working. You've got a choice of 4 here. And if you have the wrong one, you'll end up having your wording scrolling really strangely on the screen. Sometimes it might be scrolling vertically on a horizontal matrix. This is just the pins I'm using on my D1 Mini. This auto dims the display at 8 o'clock at night, brings it back onto full brightness at 7. The max brightness I have very low on 2, and the minimum brightness is 0. This is setting the buzzer, so if the humidity reading is over 65, when the humidity shows on the screen, it will just give one beep, just because I can, really. I put a buzzer in and it works. Offset again, the temperature sensors aren't very good, so I have a temperature sensor that I've been using, and for the life of me I cannot see it on my desk. Anyway, if you've got a secondary sensor, you can look at the readings on your DHT11 or 12, 22, whatever you're using. Is that gone? I don't know. Anyway, and here it is. So I've got one of these little sensors. Again, not particularly accurate. The temperature's quite good. The humidity is just down to just whole numbers. So I've used that to calibrate slightly better the blue DHT11 that I'm using. Same with the humidity. Again, there's a 3% offset. This is getting your Wi-Fi working. This is, with these links here, you'll see what all this means. So go on one of these links and you'll find the code for where you are in the world. Same with the NTP servers. The Italy one's nearest to me, and the secondary backup one is one in the UK. This is covered in that other video, but if you click on these links, it will take you to very interesting reading and show you some of what this is, and then some of this is very interesting when we come further down in the code here. So this is setting up the DHT information. This is reading the temperature, and I've limited it up the top to say only read the temperature every so many seconds, and that was up in the top of the code. So if this middle statement becomes true, then it will read the temperature and humidity and do something. Now this is if the humidity is greater than 100, it will limit the display to 99, because there, if you see on the screen there, I haven't got the space with the font I'm using to display 100% humidity, but if it's 100% humidity, you'll realise it is, because you'll be sweating like a what's it. So that was that. This was just using the offset of the temperatures. It reads the temperature, then it subtracts the offset. You can read in Fahrenheit if you wish. This is a sanity check. This will only at the moment tell you it's failed on the serial monitor of your computer or your Mac that you're using. There is no visual indication on the screen, except for probably the readings will go into 0 or null on the humidity and temp readings. So this is changing or getting the information of the hours and storing it as int so we can use them later. This is just some checking I've been doing in the program, so you can make sure you're actually extracting the right information from the NTP server. This is getting the time the way you want it. So here we're using the decimal, this bit here, then a character, and then a decimal. So we're putting the decimal, which is the hour int, then we're putting the dot separator, and then we're putting the other decimal is the minute int. So you could play with that. If you played with your fonts, you could add the seconds on if you wanted, but yeah, having the minutes is good enough for me. This was me playing with some other chars, so that could come out, that's not needed. This is setting up what we want to print as the date, and we'll cover that as we go further down in the code. So set up, serial begin, start Wi-Fi, set up the buzzer, configure the time servers, tell it where you are, tell the code what time format we're using, 24-hour 12, go and get the time, set up the buzzer, start parola, clear the display, make sure inverse is off. We're only using one zone, so that's 0. Zone 0 is from 0 to 3, so that's 4 matrices. Here we're setting the font to standard. Intensity set to whatever you set above in the code is map brightness. This is how we're going to format the information here, and this is it's going to be centered. This is the speed time as above, pause, print and print, so you can play with these to your heart's content. This I've left in because this will come in a later code, and I'm looking forward to using this. I'll say no more on that. This is adding the characters that we want to do onto the char array later. Start the DHT and just delay 1 second, and now we start looping. So now we get the temperature, we update the time. This again is just a check statement. This is if the time is within our dimming time zone, it will make the intensity 0, so at night it will dim down as low as it will go. In daytime it will go as bright as you set maximum brightness. This is just need to set the display modes and get the dots flashing in between. And again, this is the standard Proler stuff. So the case statements, this is pausing. I'm using the nice flashy font file. I'm having no effects because I just want it to print. Oh, look, I've got 2 pause statements there. Why have I got that? That's an error. So that one can come out. Don't need that. This is making the dot separators flash, and this is saying that once the seconds have been 15 seconds and 45 seconds, then the display will scroll onto the next case statement. And I said here why I chose 15 and 45, because if you make it 00, you'll miss the digits change from 59 to 00, and that's more important in an upcoming video where we do scrolling vertical numbers. Then this is how we're setting case 1. So that is the full char here. So that's getting the date how we want it to be written using the funky font. Yes, funky font there, yes. Case 2 is temperature. That's how we do it. Case 3 is changing the font because we need more space because there's more letters on the screen, and that's how we do it. And here we're adding %RH to the end of the message. And here, if the humidity is greater or equal than the warning temperature we put above, which I think was 65 if I remember rightly, then the buzzer will just beep very quickly. You could alter that down here and make it beep 3 or 4 times, but it gets somewhat annoying. Then last one is display equals 0 because we've got no more case statements, and this just resets the display. Once there's no more animations to display, it will go back to the top. This has been explained before in other videos. This is how we get from the time information. This is how we put hours and minutes into this char array, which is hours and minutes underscore char. It will store that. This will store the imperial time. This will store the hours, minutes, seconds, year, day of the week. And we're not sort of actually using all that in this code, but I've left it in because it could be helpful for you. We're actually using this one here. So full char, we're using capital A, D, B, G, just to get the time scrolling how we want. If we use the %C, you'll end up like this. You'll get short day, short month, date, time plus the seconds plus the year. Now I wanted the full day, the full month, the date, hours and minutes. Point is having the seconds. So this is how I did it here. And if you look up in the comments above where this was, in case you haven't seen the other videos, in this will help you how to do it. You get to down here. So that's just storing the ints. This was just checking the program was extracting the right integers. So this was a print statement, and this is standard Wi-Fi. So that's it, very basic. So it is a simple code. I hope you can follow it easily. The font files are here for you to play with. I am going to do, well, I have got lots of fonts to publish. I've made 10 fonts, I think. I'm going to publish them on GitHub, so you can just copy and paste them in, and that's it. So I hope you like the funky fonts. The time is good. It does auto adjust for summer and winter time. And if you want to adjust the fonts, make sure you're subscribed, because I'll show you how to change the fonts easily. And yeah, let's have some more fun with the Max 7219 matrices, because they are good fun. So that's Andy now wishing you happy coding as ever, and it's coming up to 2:10 on a sunny afternoon, and that's me signing out for now.